Welcome to the family here on Purple Mafia. I'm your host, Paladino Joey, or Joey Awajan. Purple Mafia is available on all of your favorite podcasting apps, and I appreciate when people download it with Spotify, but you don't have to. It's just helpful to the show potentially, being this show is on Spotify for podcasters. That's kind of our platform that we're using. Thank you once and always for downloading and listening to this show. It is a great pleasure to be back on board with you once again today as we're hitting the month of May now. Still haven't done a single spring cleanup, which is kind of sad, but we're about to start that any second now, literally. Well, day now is a safer assumption. But the Minnesota Vikings had their draft, and we're going to talk about it right here, the 2023 Minnesota Vikings and Purple Mafia Draft Review. We also have a fairly exciting undrafted free agent group of players to talk about as well. Interestingly enough, the Minnesota Vikings did wind up with the guy that I endorsed, which is the first time in a while, but ended up passing on a very significant quarterback along the way. So, I'm happy to have him and all that, the receiver named Jordan Addison, but at the same time, when you consider who fell, it's like, oh, we passed on him. So we'll see. It's another question we're going to have to answer in the next few years, I suppose. I'll look at the first round very, very, very quickly. No analytics or analysis to get into, really. Not really, anyway. Bryce Young, Alabama, goes number 1 to Carolina. C.J. Stroud to Houston, despite all the negative stuff going on. Who knows? Maybe Houston put that out there to see, or maybe other teams put that out there to try to get him to drop. Not Houston, but other teams to try to get him to drop. Houston then traded up to take Will Anderson Jr., linebacker. So C.J. Stroud and Will Anderson Jr. will help be pillars of the Houston Texans, or so they hope. Anthony Richardson, who was rumored to go anywhere, basically. It seemed like, kind of like Will Levis was kind of rumored to go up and down the first round. Anthony Richardson ends up going fourth. There was conversations about Levis going fourth to the Indianapolis Colts. Devin Witherspoon, cornerback to Illinois. Paris Johnson Jr., tackle to the Arizona Cardinals. Tyree Wilson, not a quarterback, going to the Raiders, so no Will Levis there. Interesting. Bijan Robinson going to the Atlanta Falcons. Jalen Carter, defensive tackle to the Eagles, 9th overall. Darnell Wright, that's after that Chicago Bears trade down from number 1, offensive tackle. Okay, cool. It's not a bad idea there. Peter Skoronski, offensive tackle. The 3rd tackle already taken to the Tennessee Titans. No quarterback yet. Yeah. Anyhow, Jahmyr Gibbs, running back to the Detroit Lions. Lucas Van Ness, all the way up to number 13, a guy that I touted a little bit on the last episode. A little bit. Goes 13th. Just tells you never know, right? That's pretty high. To the Green Bay Packers. 14th, the Pittsburgh Steelers take Broderick Jones. Will McDonald IV goes to the New York Jets. Aaron Rodgers is on the New York Jets. We're going to get into that a little bit. Very, very briefly. Really not at all, actually. Emmanuel Forbes. He was a conversation brought up multiple times to the Vikings. Ends up going as high as to the Washington Commanders. 16th overall. Christian Gonzalez, cornerback to the Patriots. Jack Campbell, not the backup goalie of the Toronto Maple Leafs or Los Angeles Kings previously in the NHL. Jack Campbell, yeah, actually it is the goalie. He's going to try to play linebacker. No, I'm kidding. Jack Campbell from Iowa, the linebacker, going to Detroit. A lot of people think Detroit may have had the best draft of all. We'll see what happens. Kalaje Kansi to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, not the Lightning, 19th overall. Defensive tackle. Jackson Smith something goes to the Seattle. Wow, so it's four wide receivers in a row. How do you feel about that? No idea. He's going to the Seahawks. Quentin Johnson going to the San Diego Superchargers, now that they're Los Angeles. Zay Flowers, a lot of people really liked him, saw him going super high. Goes 22nd to Baltimore. 23rd, actually. 22nd to Baltimore. I'm going crazy just looking at this right now. Yeah, why did they do that? They took the number 21 out. That doesn't make any sense. What are you doing? That's weird. Anyhow, we'll move on. Jordan Addison to the Minnesota Vikings. Deontay Banks to the New York Giants. Dalton Kincaid to the Buffalo Bills, who traded up. Mozzie Smith to the Cowboys. That's a defensive tackle, of course. Kincaid to the tight end to the Bills. Interesting. Anton Harrison, offensive tackle to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Miles Murphy, defensive end, going to the Cincinnati Bengals. Brian Breesy, defensive tackle going to the New Orleans Saints, who I believe traded up. Yep, Nolan Smith to the Eagles, outside linebacker. Felix Andunk Uzoma going to the defensive end, going to the Kansas City Schmucks. So, yeah, let's go. Yeah, they're the Chiefs. I don't like them, though. Joey Porter slipped all the way down, and Pittsburgh's like, okay, thanks, guys. Number 1 pick in the second round. So I'm just going to look at a couple. And then Will Levis goes number 2 in the second round to Tennessee. So Tennessee, back-to-back years, takes a quarterback that was slipping in the draft. It's like, oh, come on, Tennessee. You already got the guy last year. Get out of here. Okay, well, I guess they're going to go for Will Levis now. And if those guys maybe compete, but Will Levis is probably going to be the better player of the two. And Lottie freaking Da, we're happy for him. So we'll move on from that. We're going to get to Vikings news, free agency updates really quick. I know I'm kind of weird. CJ Ham, that was on the last episode. One signing. Joejuan Williams coming from the New England Patriots to the Minnesota Vikings. So another cornerback with depth and all that, adding depth to the team. Second round pick, 13th pick in the second round from the New England Patriots in just 2019. So not too long ago. Played a number of games for the Patriots. 0 INTs, a few tackles. Didn't really see a whole lot of action for a second round pick. Maybe kind of semi a bust, but we'll see. Give him a chance, give him a, and all that. But in a lot of ways, is he really a bust, though? He deflected 5 passes, but didn't play in 2022, so must have been out for the season. That kind of thing, coming back from injury, and then winds up coming to the Minnesota Vikings. So 5 pass deflections in 2021 with the Patriots, and is now coming to the Minnesota Vikings. So, all right, there it is. That's your free agent signing from actual NFL players, and then we get into the other stuff later on, the undrafted free agents. Let's jump right into the actual draft by the Minnesota Vikings themselves. Finally, ladies and gentlemen, our feature presentation.
And now, our feature presentation.
Well, aren't you excited? I'm trying to be. No, just kidding. Yes, Jordan Addison comes to the Minnesota Vikings, 23rd overall. We're going to briefly look at his, where the heck is he? His Pittsburgh numbers. And I'll talk about kind of the same kind of stuff that I talked about in the preview, but in 2021 with Pittsburgh. So he was with Pittsburgh for 2 years and then went to USC last year. Of course, did Jordan Addison, not he, but Jordan Addison. 1,593 yards, 17 touchdowns for Pittsburgh with 100 catches in 2021. It's pretty good, actually. Yeah, that's kind of good, actually. I kind of like what he did with that team. Why aren't they showing? Okay, I'm going to kind of move around. And my deep apologies here. Yeah, I just have to go to this one. It's like you'd like to believe, yeah. So it's like it's kind of rare that guys go to 2 schools, but I guess not that rare. Played 11 games in the Pac-12 there. So freshman, sophomore, and senior. Interesting. I don't know how that works. 2021 to 2022, he went from sophomore to senior. Sure, whatever you say. 800 and wow, his freshman year with Pittsburgh, he had 666 yards. I don't know if I like that. Anyhow, 11 games last year. 875 yards with 8 touchdowns, Jordan Addison. And a lot of what I said in the preview kind of stands because I watched again and I saw the same things and I liked what I saw because if I endorsed Jordan Addison, I must have liked what I saw, right? But I also didn't know Will Levis was going to be available. So, I'm a little bit, I don't know. I'm a little bit wondering, like, did we do the right thing a little bit? Maybe Will Levis really isn't all that great. Some people are thinking, yeah, it would have been the dumbest move ever, blah, blah, blah. And we'll get to that in fan interaction. I think this is going to be a 2-segment show. Yeah, it's either 1 or 2, basically. We'll probably keep it 2. It's probably better that way. Well, we'll see. I don't know. I'm kind of doing I kind of get wishy-washy as I do some of these off-season shows. Though State of the Vikings, no, there is no State of the Vikings, but other shows, there'll definitely be 3. State of the Wild, State of the Timberwolves. those off-season shows, and State of the Vikings, of course, was 3 segments. Jordan Addison, wide receiver, USC, 5'11", 173. Definitely a good route runner. He's a deep threat, or at least he can be. Able to make plays in traffic with contact. He's shifty with speed. He reminds me of Stefon Diggs a little bit, and he really does. Every time I watch him, I'm like, he plays a Stefon Diggs kind of game. He's kind of a hybrid between wideout and slot receiver, able to make defenders miss, and could be great in short yardage plays as well as being a deep threat, which is a really good thing. Like, he could be a super valuable guy. He might even be a number 1 receiver on some NFL teams, much less a number 2 to the best receiver in the NFL at the time being. He would definitely take pressure off Justin Jefferson and make a great offense better. So Kirk Cousins, dude, you've got your pieces. You really do, at least in terms of wide receivers. You have 2 really good receivers here. Obviously, Justin Jefferson's the best in the league, but I also do believe Jordan Addison could be very special. It's ironic to think that we might have a Stefon Diggs type on the Minnesota Vikings after, again, having to trade Stefon Diggs and winding up with Justin Jefferson to get him. So things may have turned out pretty good in this whole Stefon Diggs thing. Hopefully we beat him to a Super Bowl championship in the process. Hard to say at the end of the day, but I'm very happy with taking Jordan Addison. Very happy. I was like, okay, cool. But then it's like, oh, Will Levis, though. I mean, I don't know. That's something that's going to be, we're going to have to wait and see. And if we passed up on a wonderful quarterback that could have been our quarterback of the future, then, it makes you wonder. The Vikings did take a quarterback, though, and we'll get to him shortly. I'm not too down about it or anything. I think I think there's something there, but obviously far from any type of guarantee. Heck, Tim Couch wasn't a guarantee, which is really sad. Everybody thought he was going to be a really good quarterback, and he wasn't. That's all I got to say about that. He just freaking wasn't, unfortunately. Again, this was 23rd overall in the NFL draft. I got to get this set back where I want it to be. I apologize here. Again, Joey Porter. Pittsburgh looks really good coming out of the draft. I got to say it. Post-draft analysis, and of course we're going to hear from Kevin Seifert quite a bit, and might as well hear the expert analysis as well. Kevin Seifert says the Vikings lost 70 receptions and 6 touchdowns when Adam Thielen was released, opening the door for a wide receiver to be added. Addison is a savvy route runner. I'm just kidding, with sure hands. Sounds like Stefon Diggs with the sure hands thing. Remember how he couldn't even when he tried to pick up a recycle bin or whatever, his hands wouldn't let go. Yeah, I'm just kidding. And that was the goofy commercial. Very good post-catch explosiveness. Again, yeah, which could help him get early targets. With Justin Jefferson and KJ Osborne in place already, quarterback Kirk Cousins has a talented group of receivers to work with in 2023. Yeah, because KJ Osborne's my guy, man. He's one of my favorite players on the Vikings. I think that there's... Why are we looking at Britney Spears? Go away. Sorry, that's on the NFL Network in the background here. Britney Spears, come on. KJ Osborne, yeah, I mean, I obviously love what he can do. He believes he can be a number 2 receiver. And if he is, so be it. Otherwise, if Jordan Addison becomes the greatest number 3 receiver of all time, okay. Or Jordan Addison becomes a potential number 1 type of receiver, and we have an unbelievably good offense here, which would be a lot of fun. It could happen. The Vikings could have one of the best offenses in all of football. Not that we didn't last year, and for the fact you add T.J. Hockenson to the mix after unfortunately giving up a second-round pick, but I suppose it's worth it when you consider you have a legitimate tight end who will probably be better than Kyle Rudolph ever was to begin with. When your impact projected is high-impact day 1 starter, Addison steps into a starting spot opposite Jefferson and has the skill set to quickly develop into an excellent complement from Munich. So, really cool. Thank you, guys, for that. Yep. And, of course, again, obviously you got to say the people talking about it because they deserve the credit. Doggone it. 3rd-round pick, 39th pick in the 3rd round. The Vikings actually traded down from kind of the mid to late 3rd round to the bottom, the basement. Because they figured, well, we're going to get the guy anyway, and we can add a couple picks because we only had 5 freaking picks in the draft. And we wound up with 6. We ended up getting, I believe at the time, a 6th rounder, which didn't exist on our board, and a 7th rounder, which also didn't exist on the board. I think it was something along those lines. I can't remember now, but I think we didn't have a sixth and we added an extra fifth, basically. It was something kind of like that. That's actually what happened, which is okay. You just trade down a few picks, add a little depth in the draft. Try not to be like Rick Spielman and have like 17 seventh round picks and you end up cutting most of them anyway or putting them on the practice squad. And maybe they emerge with another team and not with us. Great. Mickey, if I'm saying it correctly, and if not, I apologize. Mickey Mekhai Blackman out of USC. You're going to notice 2 USC players and 2 LSU players. So 2 colleges are going to be in the first 4 picks. All right, so we're moving on to defense. Mickey Blackman, a guy with a definitely tenacious style. No doubt about that. And he's another guy who transferred over from another college, just in this case, Colorado. How dare you? Just kidding. Colorado, kind of confusing, but I guess it looks like there's a kind of a red shirt gear in there just to drive everybody crazy. That's weird. Some of this stuff doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But he is 6 foot 170 coming in from Colorado and USC. Changed his number a couple of times and all that. With USC last year as a senior, though, when he actually played significant games, 14 games. Obviously, again, very tenacious. He had 45 solo tackles, 3 interceptions, can obviously get his hands on the ball. Yep, a very handsy guy. He's very hands-on, maybe more than Harrison Hand, I'd have to say. And different sizes. Some people say he's 5'11", 187. And yeah, I do think he put on some muscle over the course of time. No one's complaining about this pick, to be quite honest. Again, like I said, very handsy in terms of getting his hands in there to deflect a pass or get the interception. He might get penalized a bit early on, but with Flores, he's going to improve. He's definitely a perfect fit with Flores, a guy who's aggressive and likes physical, defense and all that, and willing to go for the sacks and the interceptions and such. A perfect fit for what Flores wants. Very feisty, not afraid of contact, and having that mental edge. He's very capable of an open field tackle, potentially for a loss. Yeah, so he can do a little bit of everything in terms of like he's a legitimate cornerback who can play the position. Really sticks to his guy, and I really like what I see there out of Mickey Blackman. I think he's got definitely starter potential for the Minnesota Vikings, even late in the 3rd round. Back in the day, I mean, you take a cornerback in the 2nd and 3rd round with the with the Vikings in the Dennis Green and Mike Tice era, and it was just like, another guy who's just not going to do anything. And even in the Brad Childress era for most of it, the Andre, what was his name? I don't know, was it not Andre Allison? He was a receiver. I can't remember the other guy's name, but there were so many disappointing players on the Vikings, in the Vikings secondary over the years, like the Eric Kellys out of Kentucky and such, that just couldn't do anything going back to the Dennis Green era. But definitely, this pick looks like a good one, honestly. A physical type of player. Let's see what some of the experts think. At the end of the day, the pre-draft analysis that he mirrors the release and has the speed to run with most receivers in press. He's tough and competitive. Yep, so like I was saying there at the catch point, but he has shorter arms and his frame raises concerns about his ability to match up with bigger receivers. Yes, there is that. He's not the tallest guy, and if he has short arms, so yep, he can get over physical and grab it. Yep, there's your penalty possibilities. He fights to get off the blocks and tends to wrap up. So that's from Steve Munich. From Kevin Steefer at the post-draft analysis, the cornerback was a potential round 1 need for the Vikings, but they were able to wait until round 3, and yes, the end of round 3, right? And still get a potential starter. Blackman has fantastic tape and will push Andrew Booth Jr. and Caleb Evans for playing time. Yep. So, yeah, I mean, Andrew Booth Jr. hasn't proved anything yet. Neither has Evans. So, Evans a little bit better, I think. Booth didn't look good at all and injured and all that, but Booth was very highly touted coming in. So, we'll see. 15 pass breakups and 3 interceptions in 2022. That's really good. Blackman has proven ball skills. Yep. From Matt Miller, actually. That was not from Kevin Seifert. But, yeah, very cool. And you can even read about Kevin Seifert as well. But sounds like a good pick. Obviously, sounds like something. Obviously, when you consider late in the 3rd round, definitely sounds like a value pick. And a position of need, despite the fact we've been adding cornerbacks. We lost or got rid of pretty much everybody. It was kind of a complete changeover from last year. Like, again, pretty much all you're bringing back is Booth and Caleb Evans. That's about it. Pretty much. It's about it. And then, of course, the Arizona cornerback that we signed as well. So obviously he's new, so they're all new. It's like a complete changeover and probably the right thing to do, unfortunately, even though really appreciate what Patrick Peterson brought. He's getting kind of older and you just don't know. And he's now with Pittsburgh and that could end up being actually a nice move for them. Jay Ward, now we're moving to Louisiana State University. Looks good in purple and gold. It's kind of like a reverse Vikings, a more purple or more gold than purple. They're more gold than purple, at least in some of their uniforms. 6'1", 188. His position rank was 10th. So we'll look at the position ranks super quick here. According to ESPN, they ranked Jordan Edison as the third best receiver. Ooh. And his grade was 89. Ooh. Blackman, his position rank was 30th. Grade of 44. Overall rank of 223. Wow, they didn't like him too much for some, probably because of the possible penalties and such. Where Jay Ward, position rank 10th, overall rank of 151 and grade 58. 58. He's a little taller, of course, again, more lanky. I'm not going to compare him to certain guys, but maybe I'll stay off some of that. But there's definitely something there, and I'm certainly a fan of what I saw. You're definitely not guaranteed a whole lot in these mid-round picks, but there's, we'll see. Jay Ward overall, where was he actually taken? 4th and late in the 4th round. So you're definitely not guaranteed anything, but Vikings certainly need depth in that secondary, and Jay Ward could potentially be a starter at some point. Some people like him, some people not so much. Kind of a back and forth type of a conversation with him. For me personally, what I saw in researching him, again, 6'1", 188. He looks good in purple and gold, sure. He does have a nose for the ball. He's one of those kind of free safety types that wants to kind of, he wants to kind of get those interceptions, potential pick sixes. He's able to read where the ball's going. His lanky frame really helps in reaching for the ball, which again could be possibly a bad thing for Mekhi Blackman, where he's got shorter arms. Jay Ward doesn't have that issue. He blocked multiple punts as well. He can deliver a mean hit when needed. And of course, as of course safeties are wont to do. So again, trying to rebuild that secondary, and Jay Ward does seem more like a value pick for where he is. It's crazy to think how much lower they actually ranked Blackman. Supposedly the Vikings absolutely loved him. Flores and Co. absolutely loved, obviously Flores and Kwesi loved Blackman and really saw something there. So we'll see. Hopefully he's a good pick. According to some people, he might have been a little bit of a reach. Where's the post-draft analysis? Well, maybe we'll go to Kevin Seifert here. But Munich in the pre-draft analysis, they say he's a versatile defensive back who moved back to the nickel star position. Yeah, because that's the one thing they're talking about. He can be like a jack of all trades. Kind of like good in several areas, but master of none, that kind of thing. I forget the exact phrase that people use, so I apologize. It's probably something that you're going to punch me in the face for not saying it right, but he's a versatile guy who can play in the nickel and also he's a safety, so he can play corner and safety. But is he a jack of all trades but master of none? That kind of thing. I think that's the saying. Thrived playing close to the line of scrimmage in 2022. He reads quarterbacks. Yep, trying to get the interception. His reaction time is excellent. And yep, I mean, that's what I saw. Yeah, he looked good. And quick to break on the ball. He has quick feet and good body control, too. Ward is an aggressive run defender, and yeah, that's really cool. Who never backs down despite his lean frame. Yeah, because he's a lot more lean, but he can deliver a nice hit, which is cool. He's a reliable open field tackler as he got stronger later on. This guy did play every one of his college years in the same school, so that's good. Congratulations for staying with LSU. Pardon me. I believe he won a national championship, and I think he was teammates with Justin Jefferson, wasn't he, in 2020? 2019. Sorry, yeah, because Justin Jefferson was drafted in 2020. So yeah, way back as a freshman for just a couple games. 3 interceptions in 2020, 2 interceptions in 21, and 1 interception last year. Felt like he had more than that. But yeah, he's able to get to the ball. He had a nice fumble recovery that was a scoop and 6, basically. 4 pass deflections last year, 4 the previous year, 6 as a sophomore. Good sophomore year, honestly. to be quite fair. And he played cornerback at that time. So I moved to safety. And then last year they just simply say defensive back because he kind of played both in 13 total games, 60 total tackles, 69 tackles as a junior when he played specifically safety. 69 total tackles. Good. So could be a nice value pick for the Minnesota Vikings, and we shall see. We shall see. And yes, he was capable of delivering a mean hit, which I definitely appreciate in a big way. So we're going to continue moving down, down, down. Is it Jacquin? Roy, I think. I've heard multiple. I've heard multiple versions of it, but yeah, I believe it's Jacquin. It looks like Jacqueline, but it's not a girl. So, Jacquin Roy, defensive tackle, like a 3 technique type of guy. This guy's really strong, and just seeing him in the video, you could tell, like insanely strong. And then you read the pre-dive analysis, and you hear the same thing. Roy has the upper body strength to keep blockers off him. This is, of course, from Steve Munich. I'm going to read mine first because it's my show, right? But yeah, I didn't have a whole lot to say, unfortunately. But yeah, a 3 technique who can get into the backfield for the TFL or occasional sack. He clogs the middle, but has enough quickness to catch up when needed. Yeah, because that's the thing. Like, he is an incredibly good run stopper, like to a point of like, but not like the big let's not say overweight, but big. The big fat guy in the middle, I guess so. I said the word anyway. He's not that kind of guy. He is more of a 3 technique type, but he can make the tackle like it's nothing. Like, his upper body strength is insane. Like, we're talking crazy. Where he could just grab a guy with one arm and just bring him down, and absolutely love that. 6'3", 305. Now let's get to Munich real quick, if I can humanly possible. Yep, the upper body strength to keep blockers off him. And he's at his best when slanting or staying on the move versus a zone run game. He frequently gives ground initially and can struggle to anchor when blockers do reach him. Yep, so there is that, unfortunately. So, yeah, they say he kind of plays too high. Like, he kind of plays too high, which gives blockers a chance to, tie him up, that type of thing. Roy, not Waugh, like the NHL. Roy flashes as a pass rusher, but he also has an average takeoff quickness and doesn't counterpunch well once linemen get into his pads. So there's a bit of that. But a great tackler, and yes, he can get into the backfield as well. So that's why, yeah, I see him as and you just look at him. That's a 3 technique. That's not the other guy. The other, like the run stopper specifically, he's a 3 technique type. He had, what did he have, like 3 sacks last year? So he's not like crazy with the sacks, but still capable of doing it, that type of thing. And again, he also was with LSU. I think he did, I think he won the national championship. I can't remember, or was that 2020 or 19? I guess, it was really recent. I think they won multiple, actually, but oh well, I'm not here to talk about national championships. He actually only had 4 total sacks in college. So not super duper aggressive in terms of getting sacks, but more than capable of it. 49 total tackles last year. Definitely capable of getting in the backfield, though. But yeah, I mean, he's not this, he's not a first round type of guy necessarily. Obviously, he's kind of an up and down player. 2021 was definitely the better year. He had 6 tackles for loss, which is really good. In 2021, 2022, 3.5. So kind of like a down year in a lot of ways. A lot of people saw him as a better player in 2021. So if you're getting the 2021 version of this guy, he could be a very high-end pick. Otherwise, maybe just a depth guy. If that'd be Jacquin. If I ever say it right. Jacquin Roy. I don't think I am saying it right, honestly. But we'll get it right as we move forward. I think it's Jacquin Roy. But there's something there. Obviously, his number one trait is his strength. His overall strength and capability of bringing people down like it's nothing. Like, he will just stop you. No doubt about it. And now we start moving on. The Minnesota Vikings wound up taking a quarterback in Jaron Hall. Quarterback? The Vikings drafted a quarterback? Well, yeah, we took Kellen Mond a couple of years ago, and Yeah, well, there wasn't a whole lot much to see there. And when you watch his highlights, he wasn't all that exciting either. This guy looks a little better to me. Unfortunately, he's 25 years old. 25 years old, kind of like Hendon Herder. I'm blanking on where Hendon Herder went. I want to kind of backtrack here, real quick. I apologize. Just get curious, and all that. He wound up. I think he kept slipping, didn't he? I don't know what the heck happened. Yeah, he slipped for a while, if I remember correctly, which is which is kind of funny when you consider that. And of course, the Gophers' great center, John Michael Schmitz, went to the New York Giants. Yay! But yeah, Herder didn't even go in the second round, and I didn't think he did. Hendon Hooker. Did I call him Herder? Hendon Hooker. Hendon Hooker went to the Detroit Lions of all teams. That's who it was. I'm like, oh yeah, how could I forget? He went up with the Detroit Lions, so we'll see. It's Jared Goff and all that. Jared Goff's the main guy. Hooker's probably going to be he's going to be the backup, obviously, and we'll see what happens if Hooker's just going to end up being a good backup in the NFL, and that might be what Jaron Hall ends up being at the end of the day. We shall see. I kind of liked what I saw, though, but again, it's just highlights necessarily. You're not always going to necessarily see everything you need to see. Again, Brigham Young University, so of course, like Mormon out of Utah, and one of the reasons why his college career was longer was because of that. He was kind of busy with missions and such. His position ranked is, well, actually, I'm going to backtrack. Now I'm being an idiot here. For Jocelyn, that's how you say it, Roy. His position rank was 11th. His overall rank was 131, and his grade is 62. That's actually pretty good, considering the circumstances there. Jaron Hall, his position rank is 7th, so I guess the 7th best quarterback? Okay. Overall rank of 123 and grade of 64. Okay, so very interesting there. Only 6 foot, which is very short for a quarterback. That's certainly very mobile. 6 foot 207. So at least he's not like 170 or something crazy like that. That would be scary. My personal analysis, what I saw, again, he's an older guy, like Hooker, minus the ACL, but he did have hip injuries and a concussion as well. So okay, we'll see. He does have mobility. He can throw at different angles. He's very athletic, can do more than scramble or get a first down. He can obviously run for several yards if need be. He can really take off. He can throw in motion. He's a very good teammate. Doesn't throw receivers under the bus. Someone with proper coaching could be a capable NFL quarterback. Looks better than Kellen Mond already, at the very least. Decent arm too. Yeah, he can throw the ball a bit. Doesn't have like an arm like holy crap, but he has a pretty good arm. So there is a skill set there with Jaron Hall. I think there's something there. I do. Again, obviously, prolonged college career. He only really played 2 real years, 21 and 22. That's where he actually played, Not like kind of either a backup or kind of busy with missions and such. As a sophomore, or I don't even know if that's a sophomore. Let's call it a junior, 2021. What the heck? 2,583 yards, 20 touchdowns and 5 interceptions, rating of it's a different kind of rating system, though, so we'll leave that alone. 20 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. So, hey, not too bad numbers, to be quite honest. Completion percentage of 63.9. Accuracy is definitely in question from most experts, but statistically his percentage looks pretty good. But, I don't know, maybe the throws haven't been that great. But I certainly liked his spiral. In 12 games last year, 66%, 3,171 yards, 3,171. That sounds better. 31 touchdowns and 6 interceptions. That's actually not bad at all. Rushing numbers, in 21 he had 307, 3 touchdowns. Last year 350 and 3 touchdowns. Can definitely break loose and explode a bit, and was on a couple trick plays, couple of receptions in both years. One of them for a touchdown last season with Brigham Young. One of those, those wildcat or trick type plays. Not wildcat, but those other, those trick plays that they set up the quarterback as a receiver. Those are always kind of fun. Sometimes it's a decoy, sometimes there's something there. But obviously, again, it could be that flea flicker type stuff as well and all that. So those are always kind of fun, where a receiver, like a reverse type of play, the receiver ends up being the quarterback, that type of stuff. But I like what I saw, sure. Could at least be a really nice backup, but maybe with the right coaching, maybe there really is something there. Unfortunately, 2 years from now, he's going to be 27 already. So there's that, kind of that Brad Johnson thing, Where once Brad Johnson finally started playing, he was already almost 30 years old. It's like, oh man. So there is that. It's not going to be like a long Tom Brady like career if he does have success in the NFL. So that's just the way it is. But at least he doesn't have that hooker type of ACL type situation. Pre-draft analysis from Steve Minnick says Hall is an undersized quarterback. Yep. Who works through his progressions and creates throwing windows with his footwork. Yeah, yep. He flashes good anticipation and the ability to deliver the ball before the receiver breaks. He also extends plays, making off-platform throws, and is a threat to scramble for first downs when nothing is available downfield. Yeah, so definitely not something you're going to get from Kirk Cousins a whole lot. Like sometimes you will see Kirk Cousins scramble for that first down, but Jaron Hall, there's definitely a quickness and a pretty good speed, to be quite fair. So we're going to talk about speed here coming up with the last guy taken in this year's draft. Roy was taken 7th overall, 7th in the 5th round anyway. So early in the 5th round. Hall was taken late in the 5th round, Jaron Hall. And then very early in the 7th round, a name that we heard over and over and over and over again. And some people see him as a potential starter in the NFL. In fact, it sounds like the Vikings have him projected as a starting running back in their on their draft board. Now, take that with a grain of salt. But 5th pick in the 7th round, Dwayne McBride out of UAB University. It's not Alabama, but it's the other Alabama, so that type of thing. Pretty good player, though. Position ranked 11th, 141 overall, grade of 60. An Adrian Peterson type, but certainly not as tall. 5'10", 209, UAB. It's Alabama Birmingham. That's what it was. Yeah, it's like the other. Yep, Alabama Birmingham. Kind of where Michael Jordan played baseball in a way, but as a minor league player, not with the college. Yeah, professional minor league, that type of thing. But I liked what I saw here. Yeah, very interesting. Dwayne McBride, projected as a starter on Cam's board. That'd be Kwesi Adofo-Mensah. More of an Adrian Peterson type, all run, very little pass catch, and has had fumbling issues. So there's that. He is an outstanding rusher, though. Uses his power. He's very strong. Uses his power to get through. More of a north-south type of runner who can turn on the jets in the open field, but he is ever capable of changing directions and hesitating to make defenders miss. Might be the best 7th round pick in Minnesota Vikings history. He just might. He just might. If he's anything like he looks. If he's anything like he looks, and he appears to be. Sorry for the stupid chair here. Makes more noise than people that work something. No, nobody makes more noise than them. But yeah, there is something there, and you have other receivers in this team that can be used in, second, third down situations, like Madison. Obviously, more of a receiving type of back than McBride can be. Where McBride could be a first down, second down type of guy, like a 2-down running back, and be insanely valuable. Who knows though? Maybe he can. But also, if it's a short yardage situation, he's so powerful, him being Dwayne McBride, he could get it anyway without having to do a pass catch. According from Steve Munich, he says that McBride is a patient. Yep, see, that's where the hesitation comes in. A patient and instinctive between the tackles runner. Yep, with foot speed to sift through traffic. His greatest strength is his ability to pick up yards after contact. Kind of like Bo Jackson, actually, right? Didn't Bo Jackson kind of get contact and then take off? And I know, I'm just saying that. That's kind of Bo Jackson-like. He plays with outstanding determination and can break multiple tackles on the same carry. McBride runs with good pad level, drives his legs, and gets good push in short yardage goal line situations. So, yeah, I can definitely see McBride being a goal line threat in the NFL. Like if it's first and goal or whatever, and you're on the 2, or you're trying to go for 2, McBride could be that guy. Or he could be a nice decoy as well in those situations where you may be looking for a fade to Jordan Addison. Somebody like that. Or TJ Hawkinson, and of course Justin Jefferson, Mr. Bow and Arrow himself. No, I'm just kidding with the way he does the double point. I like that. McBride could be a hell of a pick, actually. I'm kind of intrigued by this one. Again, kind of a classic style running back, and he insanely strong. Like we're talking strong. Like when I said Roy is real strong, McBride's like that as a running back. I liked what I saw. It's an interesting draft. I'm not like I don't have my socks blown off yet, only because I'm old enough to understand that as interesting as these picks could be, you never know. You never know if they're going to pan out or not. But there's something there. There's something there with a few of these guys, and McBride might end up being an outstanding 7th-round pick if he's anything like he appears to be with his power and his overall running ability. Might end up being an awesome running back in the NFL. Like, not a superstar necessarily, and if he is, wow, what a great pick. But there's something there. There's something there with Dwayne McBride. I would be surprised if he doesn't make the team. In fact, I'd be extremely surprised. I don't want to say this guy's going to get cut or that guy's going to get cut. I don't think there's enough draft picks here to think about these guys getting cut like early or whatever. Like Nate Triplett years ago, 5th-round pick, linebacker from the Golden Gophers. That was sad. I liked Nate Triplett, and then he didn't make the Vikings at all. Oh, I felt so bad about that. Oh, wouldn't that suck? You're a 5th-round pick. I mean, you can't even get a year. Gee, not even a year with the Vikings. So that was really disappointing. Also interesting how the Vikings did not wind up with a linebacker there. But now let's look at the undrafted free agents who are insanely intriguing. Very intriguing. There's 2 of them that are really, really intriguing. And we're going to come back to them very shortly, but we'll name off the whole list and get back to the insanely exciting ones. Well, I guess we're opening up with an insanely exciting one. We'll get back to him in a second. Ivan Pace Jr. out of Cincinnati. Alan Ali, outside linebacker. Kelvin Avery, defensive tackle. Ben Sims, tight end. Andre Carter II, outside linebacker. Both linebackers, but maybe he's more of a tackle through, though. C.J. Colden, cornerback. Jalen Williams, cornerback. Jackie Chen. Not Jackie Chan, but Jackie Chen. Okay, outside linebacker. I'm just kidding. Najee Thompson, cornerback. Man, we took like 19 cornerbacks. Abraham Buplan. Abraham Buplan, another linebacker. The linebackers and cornerbacks. Jack Podolsky, a kicker. Interesting. Jack Podolsny, sorry. Malik Knowles, hopefully no relation to a certain singer. Please, God, no. Please, God, no. Podlinski is from Georgia. Okay, interesting. So I wanted to know where he was coming from. You never know. Maybe he's the next kicker. Thayer Thomas, wide receiver. Malik Knowles was a receiver as well. Wilson Huber, linebacker. And Cephas Johnson. Cephas Johnson. I like that name. Coming in out of southeastern Louisiana. Cephas Johnson coming out of Louisiana. Gotta like that one. Wilson Huber from Cincy. Kind of like a lot like a linebacker named Ivan Pace Jr., which might be the best undrafted free agent of all time, according to some people. But he led the entire Division I college football in stop tackles, meaning like no gains, that type of thing. That's pretty crazy. Against Cincinnati Bearcats, people are blown away by this one, and he basically put out a was it Instagram or tweet? I can't remember. I don't know. Social media to generalize, basically like y'all made a mistake or something like that. It was something along those lines, paraphrasing. Like it's like you guys are stupid. How could the whole NFL pass on me all the way through the draft? But the Vikings ended up getting him as a free agent. 137 total tackles, 56 total tackles, 21.5 tackles for loss. 21.5 tackles for loss. 10 sacks. 10. 4 pass deflections, 3 forced fumbles, no fumble recoveries and no blocks, like a blocked kick or whatever, something like that. But, whoa. Yeah. Well, a lot of people see him as literally like a potential starting linebacker for the Minnesota Vikings. He's that good, and people are already saying that. Why would you pass on him then? I don't know. Okay, you passed on him a lot of times, but obviously, we'll see. We'll see if maybe he was a 3rd or 4th round pick. That ends up being a really good 3rd or 4th round pick. Maybe he's not nearly as good as people think, or maybe he is one of those phenomenal undrafted free agents like Adam Thielen was, or somebody even beyond that. But exciting move here. Exciting move, no doubt about it, getting Ivan Pace Jr. The other one, Andre Carter II, 6'3", Well, let's get to the Ivan Pace's size real quick. I apologize. 6 foot, 235. I might have said that already. But Andre Carter II, outside linebacker, 6'7". 6'7", 260. Wow. Huge guy coming in from somewhere. What school is this? I was looking right at it. Oh, the Army, of course. He's coming in out of the actual Army. So pretty cool there. Another interesting one where he had a better 2021. There's no doubt about it. This is actually probably the guy they were talking about, not Roy. This was the Carter they're talking about, and possibly the reason why he slipped out of the draft. So it wasn't necessarily Roy that had the weaker year in 21 to 22 to 21. His 21 was better, Roy. But Carter in 21 could have been, they're saying, like a very high pick, like legitimate. 15 and a half sacks. 15 and a half sacks. 18.5 tackles for loss. 44 total tackles. So definitely not as dominant in overall tackles. They show him as a defensive tackle, defensive line, but I mean, this is a guy, again, who's probably in the 3-4. Yeah, he'd be like in the front area, probably. Or, excuse me. Yeah, he'd be one of the 4 linebackers, basically, where he's like a defensive end, but a linebacker, that kind of thing. 15.5 sacks. Last year, only 3.5. But 15.5 in 21. Got a couple of INTs, one in 2020, one in 21. 3 pass deflections in 21, 4 forced fumbles and 1 fumble recovery. He also did block 2 punts. Two blocked punts for Andre Carter. Last year, only 2 pass deflections, no interceptions, and nothing else with the fumbles or anything. Again, 2021 was the big year. If you're getting the Andre Carter of 2021, you have yourself a legitimate pick. If 2022 is who he is, it's unfortunate, but I think he was beat up and injured. Only 7 tackles for loss. So his 2022 numbers are partially why he slipped out of the draft. I'd have to say, definitely wasn't the same guy. But in 21, he looked like Pro Bowl level. Holy cow. And Ivan Pace Jr. looks like Pro Bowl level right now. So 2 very interesting picks that could be a huge part of this 3-4 defense with Flores coming forward. Pace Jr., Pace Jr. and Carter. This could be very exciting if these guys make the team and really can take this team somewhere. We shall wait and see what happens with that. With that, we're going to take a quick break and get to fan interaction. And we are back here on Fan Interaction. Facebook page, Twitter account, all that good stuff. At Purple Mafia Show. At Purple Mafia Show is the Twitter account. I believe Twitter is extremely quiet, unfortunately, because the last show wasn't it wasn't too long ago. The little ways. Tanae Brown out of New Zealand and Vince Germano out of Australia retweeted the most recent episode. Gerald String retweeted it as well, coming in out of Nebraska. Malcolm McSween, a bit frustrated here, saying, I wanted the Vikes to take Lamar. I wanted the Vikes to take Hurts. This year I wanted the Vikes to take Hooker. So we'll see if Hooker ends up being something. Malcolm McSween coming in out of California. I was saying they dragged this thing out so much. It's criminal. Enough already. Make the damn pick and move on. Yeah, because my frustrations are every single time there's a pick, we got to hear from this person. And, here's this cute girl. Here's this cute little boy. Here's this, here's that. Here's this, here's that. And we're going to bring in this fan. He's been a fan for 30 years. La da 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 da. This guy played for the team for this guy played for the team 30 years ago and we still love him and da 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 da. And we want to talk about this charity and that charity. Can you make the pick? Can you make the pick? It's okay. We get it. Yeah, you can do charity stuff, but and we really appreciate it. I think the whole planet does. But just make the pick. The pick was in 10 minutes ago. Make the pick. Anyhow, that's my feeling about that. Well, unfortunately, that's the end of Twitter, which is okay. I mean, it is what it is. People are busy or whatever, and I didn't interact enough. That's my own fault. And thank you, Malcolm, very much for interacting. I really appreciate that. Facebook.com/Purple Mafia Show. The most recent episode, number 400. So this is 401. Mark Carlson says, again, coming in out of Iowa, and the Gold Star winner of the year for 2022 Says, number 400. Excited to see the new episode on my list. All these years I've been listening and enjoying every episode. I hope they keep coming, and they will. And they will, even though I get... there are years I'm like, oh, I don't want to do this, but then it's like, like in August, I'm like, oh, I don't want to do this, and then September is here, and I'm like, okay, let's go. It's weird. Like August, I'm just worn out, beat up. Summer's starting to end, and the sun comes up later, and I just don't feel so hot. And then, oh, it's football season. Okay, I'm ready. I'm kind of like that. I'm kind of like Favre. I'm kind of like Brett Favre. Like, I don't want to come to training camp. Just leave me alone. Go away. Oh, okay, it's week 1. Let's go. Well, no, I start usually a little earlier than that, but it's like that, though. I get worn out, I get worn out in the lawn service and such. Yeah, and the older I get, the Vikings signed the cornerback from New England. No interaction there, just a few likes. And there is the rumors about Trey Lance, which could still happen. Mostly likes here. It looks like no comments, but a number of likes. Appreciate that. The Minnesota Vikings have had discussions with the San Francisco 49ers about a potential trade involving Trey Lance, according to Mike Florio. And it could still happen, I'm sure, but it probably won't. It could, but it probably won't. AP source, Jets agree on deal to acquire Airhead Rodgers. Okay, I'm just kidding. Aaron Rodgers. Yeah, the New York Jets did end up getting Aaron Rodgers. Score North put out the whole trade compensation per sources. This is from Adam Scheffler, but Score North shared it. Thank you very much, Score North, of course. Big fan. Trade compensation per sources. Jets get Aaron Rodgers, pick number 15, a 2023 fifth-round pick at number 170. Cool. Okay. The Green Bay Packers get pick number 13, a 2023 second-round pick, number 42, a sixth-round pick, number 207, a conditional 2024 second-round pick that becomes a first if Rodgers plays 65% of the plays, which he probably will. So congratulations on your 2024 first-round pick. It's a decent compensation, but it's not that much, partially because he's so old. Like if Aaron Rodgers was like 30, that they would be insane. It would be like 3 or 4 picks, probably first-round picks or potential first-round picks. And yes, they say goodbye. The Packers have finally traded Aaron Rodgers to the New York Jets. And yes, sir, Mark Carlson and Dave Hickey chiming in. And I didn't click like or anything because I suck. Okay. I guess I clicked like. Dave Hickey out of Iowa says, good and good riddance, crybaby. And Mark Carlson says, and now what? Interesting news for sure. Are the Jets in a win now year? I didn't know it. Yeah, I see what you mean. They were kind of good for a while last year, and then this things kind of went down the you-know-what, because they didn't really have a quarterback. Their defense is pretty good. They came here and they competed because our team gives up 550 yards a game with a certain guy with the scheme and certain old players that were washed up and such. It was a combination of things where that defense needed an overhaul. It did not need tweaking. It needed an overhaul in so many ways. So, yeah, we'll see. It's amazing how we still gave up like 400 yards in that game. It's freaking unbelievable. Continue. Yes, I did a video in the car, which I like to, sometimes I do I call them mobile podcasts on my freedom of thought, and I even did a Timberwolves explosion like that. I might even do a Purple Mafia sometime. Mobile podcast, probably not video too much, but every now and then a reaction to something huge and crazy. I might do that. I might do wow, we passed, we took Jordan Addison, but then we passed on Will Levis. Holy crap. But, that got a decent amount of views. It's not going to necessarily make me any money. I don't see any ads in the video. So, but, yeah, it got more views than I would have expected. Let's just leave it at that. Or more interaction anyway. I don't know if it got a ton of views or not. Like, insights might be just people saw it. It doesn't mean they watched it. It was a decent number, like 2,000 or something. Which, that's not bad at all. But doesn't mean they watched it. Oh, that's the sad truth. So, Leland Albertson out of Iowa says, it's shocking to our household. See what happens next round. Well, if we get a pick, if we get a pick, yeah. Yep, we didn't have a second round pick, did we? Mark Carlson, Iowa says, yep, and Iowa rules Purple Mafia. Let me tell you, Iowa rules Purple Mafia. Leland, Mark, Dave, Jeff Froyland, Iowa. Across the board. I love you, Iowa. I love you, Iowa. That's why I have a soft spot for the Iowa Hawkeyes and Iowa State, Cyclones in the basketball tournament. But Iowa Hawkeyes more so in football, even though they roast and toast the Gophers every bleeping time they play them. I don't enjoy that very much, but I respect your club very, very much. When I hear Iowa linebacker or Iowa lineman, it's like, ooh, like Lucas Van Ness. Yeah, offense and defense, yeah, they're good. Anyhow, Mark Carlson says, why would they do that? We could have taken a strong defensive player. Yeah, well, I mean, I'm happy with the pick, but I can understand that point of view. Luckily, we did get some defensive players later, obviously, and this was all reaction to just the first round. So, obviously, none of us knew who the Vikings were going to take at the time. So that's how that goes. Though I can't say I came out of the draft thinking we got the greatest defense ever, but the two players we did get, the two players I mentioned, Carter and Pace, we might have something very special defensively if those guys are anything near what they appear to be. Dave Hickey says, I think Hendon Hooker is going to be a better pro than Will Levis. Ooh, but we passed on both. Several really good defensive players still on the board too. I'm going to go with Jordan Addison. He better be a difference maker. I agree, because if he isn't, see, that's I can see where you guys are questioning that, both Dave and Mark a little bit. If he isn't, that would be a very huge disappointment, but we'll see. Jeff Froyland says, am I missing something on Levis? He throws more interceptions than anyone else in the first by a large margin. Usually when they transition to the NFL, it gets magnified. I'm glad they passed on him. Everyone did. Yeah, because I doubt that Hall would throw only 6 interceptions in a full NFL season, so I can see what you mean. It's way harder. Like college to pro at quarterback is way harder. So good takes there, and very interesting. I don't know why this always says most relevant. Everything is relevant. Come on, just show me. Stupid. Oh, I like that. Real time, so it'll actually show when they were. Oh, I like that. So thank you guys for your reaction to that. Jordan Addison. Let's see if I could get caught up here. There's a couple comments here. I will put the Jordan Addison pick officially. Yep. Mark Carlson says, I can't complain. I know there is a plan, right? But what about the D? Yep. Thankfully, they addressed it a bit later. Dave says, I guess they plan on outscoring everybody. And Mark says, must be the plan, Dave. Yep. Well, sure looks like it. But no, I mean, they did take defense later. And then they took the quarterback and no reaction, unfortunately. But you got to see the video and everything, and someone shared it. And a couple more here. Vikings announced agreements with 15 undrafted free agents. Yeah, because I had a couple of messages as well. Dave Hickey actually messaged me about Pace, if I remember correctly. Dave Hickey says, it looks like at least a couple of starters. Yes, I'm optimistic. Yeah, they look good. Mark Holton says, let's check this list out. Thank you, Paladino Joey. Yep, you're very welcome. And it is a very interesting list, no doubt about it. And then we get the 0 championships thing. And very interesting stat that's been floating around this past week with the Wild getting knocked out and the Wolves getting knocked out. Woof. Minnesota sports teams, Vikings, Twins, Wild, and Timberwolves have made the playoffs 50 times with 0 championship game appearances, like championship series or games. No one else is even close to that number either. So that would be like dating back to the 91 Twins. Optastats says the Twins won the 1991 World Series. Since then, the Twin Cities teams have made the playoffs 50 times in Major League, NFL, NBA, NHL, and have failed to reach the championship round every time. No other metro area in the core 4 sports history has had even 30 straight playoff trips without making the finals or Super Bowl or whatever. Isn't that crazy? 50. And it's probably going to continue because I doubt the Twins are going to the World Series, but I suppose it's possible. I doubt it. The Wild can't even get out of the first round, and it was interesting back and forth with Bill Guerin and Michael Russo. I may have a short episode with Brave the Wild coming up again to react to some of the press conference and some of the Minnesota Wild news going on. They did not fire the coach, despite the fact he is an offer in the postseason. 4 years in the AHL, that's the minor league. No, didn't get out of the first round. Second, or in the NHL, 4 years in the NHL, didn't get out of the first round. Didn't even get to the first round the first year. in terms of he lost in that bubble thing, which people say they don't count. I do count it because you would count it if they won it, so you would. Conversation here. Donna Mueller says time to change. I agree with that. Mike Dale says the North Stars. Yep, and I like to hear that from a guy from New York talking about the North Stars. I like that very much. All comments, please. Thank you very much. Mike Dale says the North Stars also made it to the finals in '91. Yep, and lost to the Pittsburgh Penguins. Of course, that was almost 32 years ago, so that's a long drought of futility. Yep, and it's unfortunate they lost. See, a lot of people, this whole thing is about getting to the final, and then, that's the thing, because if a team gets to the finals, you're praying to God they win. You don't want to just say, yay, we made it, and then lose, because that's depressing, too. But, even teams like Buffalo and such, they got to the Super Bowl up to 94, I believe. No, 93, which is 2 years later. And, of course, Buffalo only has 2 teams. Ron Sturdy, 87 and 91 Twins won the World Series. Get your facts straight. What are you talking about? There's nothing wrong with the there's nothing wrong with what was said here. It's judging after 1991. We know the 87 Twins won, but that's further back. So I don't know if he's saying that to me or to the Score North or that Opta Stats. But 87 was before 91. The whole point was since 91, there have been 50 seasons. So maybe he's not understanding that part of the aspect. There's been 50 seasons without getting to the championship total. Not 50 years 50 playoff appearances, since then. There have been 50 playoff appearances since then. There's been quite a few more than 50 seasons. More like 100 something. It's not 130 quite because the Wild didn't exist. There was no hockey for 7 years. 7-year tribulation in the hockey world. But 50 playoff appearances for all these teams. Like the Twins made the playoffs many times and didn't get to the World Series in the 2000s. Vikings, blah 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 blah. So you get the idea. The Wolves made it. You get the idea. They didn't make it, and most of the time they didn't even get out of the first round, which is annoying. So that should wrap up this episode. Sorry for the sports futility at the end. Gold star for this episode. You were all a gold star. Yeah, you kind of are, actually. You kind of are. Gold star of this episode. I'm not. Let's go with Mike Dale for bringing up the North Stars. It's cool when someone, from out of town remembers the North Stars so well, and I just love that. That's so cool. So, Mike Dale coming in out of upstate New York, actually closer to Buffalo, right? And then you have Mark and Dave, Leland. You guys all deserve stars. Every one of you, you're all going to get one in this one. Malcolm. You're all going to get like bronze and silver stars at the end of the day. So just because, and I just love you guys. And they were all good comments. Everybody made a good comment. Ron Skirty, well, the facts are straight. It's 50 playoff appearances since 91. Not the fact that, since the beginning of time, blah, blah, blah. So I don't know. Maybe he didn't understand what they were doing the math on. But regardless, whatever, it is what it is. Thank you so much for listening to the show. Tell your friends about it. If you can, listen to it. Download and listen to it on Spotify. It'll help develop the show on there. Now that I'm on a different platform because just have to. And well, it's the new home for Purple Mafia. We're probably going to stay there for a long time, barring some kind of surprise. So I think there was a couple instant messages on Purple Mafia. Yeah, Homeboy Def. Yeah, I want to give him some credit a little bit here. He was showing Anthony Richardson how good he was, and I agree with that. Also, Dave Hickey sent I think it was a personal message on Facebook to my regular Facebook page, or not page, my Facebook account, my regular account. There it is. So I'll get to it. Yeah, he was talking about Ivan. Yeah, he was showing Ivan Pace Jr. Like, here we go. This is really potentially something here. Yeah, Skull Geek shared first, second in sacks. Like, holy cow. Quarterback pressures 31, first. Defensive stops 43, first. This is among linebackers in college football. Tackles for loss, no gain. That would be like stops, so to speak, 14. First. Overall grade, 92.0. First. Jeez. So he's a stud. He's a potential stud, and I hope he can, Ivan Pace Jr. can bring that to the mix. And thank you very much, Dave. That was really cool. That was really cool. That was, yeah, that was awesome. Very worth what you had to say there. What the heck? Oh, that's fun. Sorry, I just read something else personal that was kind of annoying, but leave that alone. Personal stuff. Life is funny. Anyhow, but thank you so much for listening to the show. God bless all of you, and we will be back to talk more Vikings football, hopefully in the not-too-distant future. Maybe a little bit till the next show, but there's a good chance I'll get purple hungry again and have something come up later this month or early June, something like that. And then the hiatus will continue until, I don't know, who knows? Maybe there's some kind of exciting news along the way. Or I'll just have this urge to do a show or two here and there, get caught up on things or talk about history. Until next time, though, take care and God bless.